Welcome back to the Keep Going podcast with Vin Kennedy. I'm your host, Vin Kennedy. Today we have a guest. This is Alex. Alex, you want to do a brief intro on yourself?
Yeah, man. Thank you, first of all, for having me. I'm Alex, or Herm. A lot of people call me, so my handles are all Herm Runs. It's funny. I changed up the thing, and I didn't use my nickname for once. I actually go by Alex on a lot of these platforms now. But I'm a TikTok runner, I guess you could call me. I like to have fun in the space, spread fun messages, and do some impressions of other people, keep it lighthearted. Outside of that, I'm a 25-year-old Scorpio who likes to go for long walks on the beach and have a good time. But yeah, man, I'm really stoked to be here. So thanks for having me.
Of course, man. And yeah, honestly, that's how I came across you on TikTok, and it was just seeing the fun that you're having with it. And we talked about it a little bit just a minute ago. And that I think that's the part that some people miss. And I actually saw a post the other day that was talking about like, or I actually reposted it today. It was about the relationship with running. And I feel like a lot of people have that original taste of running that you get from, just childhood athletics where running is a chore and you have a poor like I hate running. I feel like I know a ton of people now that run religiously and they always say I hated running. So seeing you have fun with it, I guess that's right where we could start is like what kind of keeps it carefree and like how do you hold on to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna hit 2 points here. One, I made a video a couple months ago that was like, we need to stop using running as this thing that we punish people with because it ruins the sport as a whole, but then just as like a fun thing people can do in their life. And it's insane to me that for this long, right, we haven't come up with more creative ways to, punish our athletes. For me, I mean, I played hockey and baseball my whole life growing up. For me, it was if I had to go run poles or I had to do sprints or something, dry work after hockey. And it was like, these are the things that made me hate this sport. So obviously, as an adult, I'm looking to get back into exercise, and the first thing I'm going to isn't running. I'm not waking up in the morning and going, can't wait to go do that thing that was used as punishment for like the last 20 years of my life. So for me, that was a really big barrier. And kind of getting into the actual question, I think that so much of my life as a whole, I don't like to take too seriously. Like, I nothing in life is that serious to me. I think that there's a lot of things that are, important, and like if you have goals, it's important to chase those goals. However, if it's going to ruin or interfere with your life in the terms of like having fun, having a social life, going and seeing friends, it's not worth it. But the nice thing about running is you can kind of go and do all of those things together. And that's what really has drawn me to it. I mean, up until November 7th, when I started running, which was the day after the New York City Marathon, if you would have told me I would go make friends running, have fun with it, and be pretty carefree about it, I'd be like, you're crazy. That's not true. That's not what's happening here. So, I mean, it's just this thing where, you take your ego out of it, right? Because we all have one. We all want to perform at the highest level we possibly can, and understand that there's going to be rough days. There's going to be days where we don't want to do it. And there's days where we're going to take it more serious than we're used to. Just throw them out the door. It's going to happen. You know that it's going to happen. Once they're clear, you're free. You're free to be whatever kind of runner you want to be. I mean, dude, you are so much faster than I ever be. So I can't like be like, oh, dude, I got to go catch up with Vin every single day. It's not going to happen. I would become miserable next week. It would be no fun. So as long as we then can share, we're going to go have some fun miles. You're going to go slow. I'm going to go a little fast when we meet in the middle. That's what really brings the community together and makes it just that much more enjoyable. Because at the end of the day, exercise is pretty fun. And if you would have told me that again a year ago, I would have disagreed because I was just coming off of being a college athlete who literally worked out for a living at that point. You're lifting every day, you're running every day, you're playing your sport every day. Drives you through a wall. You get burnout and you never want to exercise again. And I've had this conversation with a lot of people who are college athletes, and it's always the same message. Like, you're never going to catch me in the gym again. That's how I am. I might never lift another weight in my life, and I'm fine with that. I have buddies who are like, I'm never going to run again. I'm never going to swim again. I'm never going to do X, Y, or Z. And that's the tough thing about fighting that battle. So as long as you bring it back to this place where you can have fun with it, you're running. You're free, and it's a lot more enjoyable, to say it again.
so true. I think something you touched on there too, which is key, and I've been harping on this, and it's like right. You mentioned like my times being a little quicker than yours, and then I have buddies that flying, and I'm like, I'll never catch them. But it is cool that it is something that it doesn't matter because you could all go out on a Saturday, run one run together, and it's so weird that it's enjoyable because especially when you start to get the longer distances, of course it doesn't sound enjoyable, but then you're in it and you feel it and it's great. And like you said, even within runs, you might have moments that aren't fun, but
Yeah.
the overall thing and just sharing the community and then the ending, I mean, endorphins as a whole is just like it's a great experience. It's almost anything you do, you're not going to enjoy every single moment of it, but it's the experience as a whole. And the sense of community is really what's been just absolutely changing the game for me. And I see it with you as well.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing, right? I mean, I'm new to the running space, of course, but from what I gather is like so many people weren't as fun as we are now, you know? There weren't as many of these cool communities popping up. So like for example, I mean, I did that Goggins 4x4x48 with John and a whole group of us from Endorphins a few months ago. Like we didn't run the same paces for 48 miles. We didn't, always run together. We would maybe split up into different groups. But hell, at the end of the day, we ran 48 miles together and didn't sleep together for 2 days. And we shared that joint accomplishment. And that was sick. I mean, we made better friends with that whole group of people who did like a majority of it with us than I've made in my entire life. It's so cool the way that we just can come together through this one shared thing, running, which is kind of weird. And then it stems off into, we're going to parties together, we're going to the bars together during the week, we're going and, we're going to someone's wedding because, we've gotten that close over 3 months. It's nuts. I mean, it's awesome. And I think that that's the real beauty of it. Like this shared interest just through one silly thing called running.
So true. And shout out Bryn. I know she did that with you as well, right?
Yeah, shout out Bryn. I love
Yeah,
Bryn.
Bryn's the goat.
That
I met her in Philly as well on a run.
that's how
Um,
we got so close was the 4x4x48. So funny enough, Bryn and I were the first two people to ever show up to Philly Endorphins. So we meet at 7:15 on Monday mornings. Bryn and I were there at 6:47 in the morning. We
that's
were
awesome.
gonna be late. So it was, the awkward conversation you always have with the first time you meet someone, especially for me, it was my first ever run club. I'd never ran with other people in general, let alone, this big club in Philly. And met Bryn. We talked for the first like 2 miles of that run. Didn't talk to her again until the 4 a.m. of that 4x4x48. And by the end of it, we're thick as thieves. We're so tight. She's my best friend. I love her so much. She's gotten me through some tough runs. Like this Sunday, it was just so humid, and she biked with me and helped me get through some of those miles. So yeah, you find some really awesome people.
You do. And you find like-minded people. And like you said too, like again, I'm fairly new to this run thing as well. I really started up last summer. And just what I'm finding through community is that it's that, right? Is it's the sense of we're missing community. And I mean, you could go to a bar, you could meet people, but it's just a different atmosphere. And it's different when you're doing something tangible together. Like you could go to a bar and share a drink, but it's just a different experience when you're almost out in nature and just doing the thing. Like you're actually being active.
Yeah, you won't remember going to the bar and getting a
It's
drink with someone either. It's like you're not sharing, your phone number with them so you actually talk to them ever again. You're doing it out of courtesy. Like it's the actual like uh I guess like community that you're trying to build at all times that you're not doing by like going to a bar and meeting someone. Because I mean, I don't really go to bars anymore, but if I did, I guess that would be a thing, right?
yeah,
Sharing.
I'm in the same boat. I'm sober. Completely sober and definitely don't really go out. And it's yeah, it's true. And not even that, it's just like even when you're out, you're not even I know personally, I wasn't even myself because I was an intoxicated like version of myself who showed up with this like false confidence where now you show up, like you said, you show up 6:45 at your first run club, like you have to show up as you. There's no masking it with alcohol. Like you have
Yeah,
to be you.
you want to talk about how tough conversations, man. I mean, that you're tired, you are nervous, you are probably need to shit yourself because it's running. Like all these things are going on, and you're trying to talk to someone. You know, at the bar, you drink a little bit of that what do they call it? What do people call it when
Social lubricant.
social lubricant? Exactly. You don't have that.
Yeah.
You don't need that. But that, dude, that's actually funny. Did you if this might be too personal, did you stop drinking for like fitness, or were you like just trying to
That's
attain?
personal. I'm an open book here. It's so for me personally, like I think it's a mix of a couple things. Like I would make such progress Monday through Friday, and
Mhm.
then I wouldn't even say like Monday. I would say by Wednesday I'm feeling normal again. And then it's just this like cascade of like, okay, Wednesday to Friday, we're making progress, and then you just fall into the cycle. It wasn't even like it was showing up in life, not who I wanted to show up as. And I just actually had a conversation with someone like, this is the most consistent I've ever been, and it's been like over a full year now. And like it sounds cliche, but like I could actually look in the mirror and like I'm proud of who I see. And I could not say that for a long time.
That's awesome. And since I've started this journey, I'm not sober, but I'm definitely far from what I was. So
Yeah.
before I started running, I was working this overnight gig, and I was then waking up every morning, going to the golf course, playing 36 holes, drinking 20 beers, and bumming a cig off of every guy I saw after beer number 12. And it was abysmal. So I just was living this life, and I was so good at being drunk, dude. Like if I could live that life and still accomplish all the running I could right now, I would, because why not? You couldn't tear me down there. But dude, you're so right. Like Monday through Friday, you're good. You're running every day, you're eating a little bit better, you're doing whatever you got to do, and then you're looking forward to Friday. You think like, oh, Friday night I can start drinking again. Saturday day, I start day drinking, Sunday day, and then next thing you know, it's Wednesday. And yeah, you can't do that when you're training for a marathon, man, or an ultra. You got yours in what? Uh 22, no, 24
August
days.
5th. Yeah. It's 14 days from Saturday. But no, it's so true, man. And the more I like navigated, I realized it wasn't even just athletics, it wasn't even fitness, it wasn't even like healthy eating. It's all of it. And then all of that lets you cascade almost into just being a better person. Like you're just making the better choice, and that just consistently compounds, and you just become the person you want to actually be rather than taking these steps back all the time.
Exactly, man. And it's like I would show up to work and I'd be like, I can't work for the next 3 hours. Like my head hurts, my head's foggy, whatever. It's not worth it. Plus, dude, I mean, I know we're gonna get into this, but I gained like 80 pounds, and
Yeah.
like, it's a combination of the pandemic. Obviously, we all had to battle through that a bit, and we were all a little bit drinking too much, probably because it'd be like 5 o'clock and nobody's had to do anything all day. And you're like, well, it's beer 30, so like let's get after it. And then, just golfing every day. I golf a ton, and that was probably the hardest social thing. It's like you go out to the course and everybody's expecting you to drink all the whole round, and now I show up with a protein shake and a water half the time because I'm like just trying to catch up on whatever I burnt on my run earlier that day.
So true. Yeah, definitely want to touch on that. But I just want to take a little step back to like your confidence, because you kind of exude this confidence on social media, and I'm seeing it here as well. And it's just like a calming confidence, which I think is really cool. And I'm curious on where that stems from.
I was a fat kid. You have to go through accepting yourself at a really young age, I think. And this is gonna go a little detour. When I was a kid, I was very insecure. I was very, you know, quiet. I didn't really talk to too many people, but I found this place where I could exude that confidence through sports, right? I mean, sports were the only things I was good at. So when it came to it, I really only had one outlet in life where I could be like, yep, this is my thing. I'm going to be really good at it. But then as soon as I step off the court or off the field or wherever we were, dude, I was just a freaking teddy bear. And I break down and I cry. I would like someone like what kind of insults did we say to each other when we were like 10 years old on the ice rink? Like, hey dude, you're ugly. Someone called me ugly on the ice rink, dude. I would literally break down and cry to my parents for the next 4 hours. Like it got to the point where they're like, you're gonna have to stop playing sports because you clearly can't handle it. And it was a really bad place. So I guess over time, just working, through stuff like that as a kid, I was able to be like, you know what, who cares what anyone says to me? This really doesn't affect how I'm performing on the field. And then one day someone's like, dude, they're only doing that because you're better than them. And I was like 6 feet tall at 12 years old, and just the biggest dude on the ice or the field at any given time. So I physically was going to be bigger and better than everyone. So of course, like, I am the target. I am the person that they're coming after. So as soon as I did the similar thing to like running and taking things seriously, I just took my ego out of it. Like, dude, they're calling that because that's just what you like. They're trying to get under your skin in any way, shape, or form. Go play your sport, go have fun with it. And then it kind of got into this weird place where I got too confident, right? So I move on from being an insecure kid to high school where I gained way too much confidence. I was far too egotistical about the way in which I was performing. I was throwing 95 miles per hour as a sophomore in high school. I was bigger than everyone. I was hitting home runs. I was doing the thing and I was getting recollection for it. And I got really in my own head. I was picking fights with kids on the baseball field, on the ice rink. Anywhere that I could then kind of give it back to people, I was. And I was an asshole, a complete douchebag. And I all for it. So I was able to find this happy medium by the time I got to college because I got super humbled. And this is where we tie it back to running. My first 2 weeks on campus, I show up and I get blackout drunk every single night. I literally felt walking up the stairs to my first ever college class. Like, it was really bad. And then 2 weeks later, we have to take our fitness test. And it's a run test. It's a mile and a half in 9.5 minutes. And dude, I kid you not, I failed it 10 times. Like, I had to go back at 5:30 in the morning 10 separate times over like the course of the next month and a half to pass this test. And it's like, wait, I am not the hot shot here. I am not the guy I was in high school. And it brought me back to being like, dude, you gotta humble yourself. And that's where I was able to pass the fitness test. I wasn't even given a jersey for most of my freshman year. The coach is like, you can be on the bench for home games, but like, you're not pitching. Working hard enough that halfway through my freshman year, I earn a jersey. I get into one college baseball appearance. That's my big thing. I threw one out in my career. And then I just, I was able to battle through that adversity, realizing I'm not the hot shot. And, now I'm just trying to have fun with it. And this is where that confidence kind of comes from. You have to see both sides of things where you're completely insecure and completely, egotistical douchebag to find that happy medium. And I think that's where I've kind of shot out now, where it's like I can beat myself up over a social interaction, but also, cheer myself on when I go into a tough, call or something for business meetings where I'm like, you really knocked that one out of the park, dude. And that was the confidence you need to exude. But yeah, it's really a full life thing. I mean, you don't just, you can't teach confidence. And this is something I talk about pretty frequently because I'm a bigger dude, right? I'm 6'3", 240 right now. Not too many guys that look like me run with their shirt off, in very public areas too. But it's like, I can't teach someone to do that because that confidence is something that you have to really have been through yourself. But what I can help you do is, try and build up your confidence. Like, you look like me, or you're bigger than me or smaller than me, and you just don't feel secure taking your shirt off, come run with me and we'll run together. And I'll show you that, nobody really says anything. Nobody's going to call you any names for the most part. And honestly, nobody's judging you because guess what? Nobody else cares. Everyone's so narcissistic that nobody is even thinking about the other people that they're running by. So I think that that's just all the full circle of life. And I'm in a very comfortable place now where it's like, I'm very self-aware of myself. And who am I to then go and judge other people or, try and take down anyone else's confidence?
Yeah, no, it's so true, and you hit on so many things there, and one that like really sticks out to a younger version of myself is like, yeah, like I wouldn't run with my shirt off, even when I was like occasionally running in 2020. Like I was like, I'm not lean enough, and then like finally get a six pack, and it's like I could take my shirt off, and then like you fluctuate a little bit in weight, and it's like that confidence goes away. So,
I love
like
the
you said,
flex in there though. The six
what?
pack. That was good. The six pack flex. It was like once I got a six pack.
Yeah, but no, I mean it's not even here right now. It's like somewhat there, but it's not what I'm chasing anymore. And I think that's the difference. Like I used to chase that to give me the confidence to be the person. And now it's just like if you show up and you are that person, you like you said, you accept yourself. And that's the difference where it's like it doesn't matter if I'm feeling lean that day or not. Like if it's hot and I want to run shirtless, I'm gonna run shirtless. And I think, yeah, it's cool. And seeing you do it, it's true. It's so cool. Like it's just seeing you accept yourself is it's like a superpower to empower other people.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it feels that way. I mean, like I want to go tell other people to rip their tarps off because it's like I saw a guy yesterday on the boardwalk, dude, and like he was not a big dude in any way, shape, or form, but he was wearing like a long sleeve shirt and he kept doing this is a big dude thing. So if you were ever a big dude, you probably know it. We do this thing where we pull out our shirts just like this all the time. And he was running, pulling out his shirt like that. So like it's just like one of those things you can tell someone was very like not very confident in the shirt they were wearing or something like that. And I wanted to be like, dude, just rip it off. Just take it off, man. Because at the end of the day, like I think a big part of it too is when I did pass that fitness test and when I was in college, I thought I was the healthiest I had ever been. I probably was down to close to 200 pounds. I could lift a ton of weight. I could, run kind of fast, and I felt like I was in good shape. But I wasn't. They had me on weight loss pills. I was taking 500 milligrams of caffeine when I woke up just so I could start shaking and sweating to lose weight. I was not eating. I was addicted to laxatives. Like all of these things that are incredibly not healthy, I was doing so that I could be this ideal picture of myself. Didn't do the trick. So now that I'm actually healthy and I can run further now than I ever have been able to, and I eat whatever I want because I'm accepting of, food is fuel now. You have to eat a ton to be able to produce these miles. That's where it comes from, man. I mean, like letting that ideal image go and just going and accepting what you got, eating whatever you want, and having a good time, and knowing in the back of your head that you're healthier than you've ever been. That's what does it.
No, absolutely. If you kind of want to just go into just the weight loss journey and then even some stuff you touched on there and how it affects you to present day.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't really talk about this on TikTok too frequently. It's not my space. I think that like one of the more, I think there's some people that do the weight loss thing on TikTok or on social media really well. And I think it's really great that they occupy that space. For me, running is just for fun. I never started this to lose the weight. So it's like, this is also probably what the fifth iteration of me losing 50 plus pounds in my life. Excuse me. Like this is something I've always battled. Now I've accepted it. But like college, high school, I was like 265 most of it, and I felt athletic. I felt like I could play baseball. I felt like I could do my things. Lose a ton of weight before college, come back feeling healthy, but I'm not actually healthy because now I have all these vices that I have to, take in this much caffeine. I have to make sure that I lift every day. Like I wouldn't eat if I didn't lift, and I would then go and take 4 Dulcolax because it made me shit everything out by the time I wake up the next morning. So it's like it was never healthy for me. So when I was then gaining weight again, I'm like, how is this gonna happen? I'm like, it's just gonna have to happen one day. Otherwise, like something will click, something will happen and I'll lose the weight. But I didn't really have a plan for it. So I went to the New York City Marathon, got inspired, started running. Never to lose the weight, honestly, though. Like this first 60 pounds came off really easily. Now it's like I'm in this lull, whatever. I'm just gonna sit here at this weight for a little bit because I'm not gonna change my diet. It's not really appealing to me to do that. And I'm accepting of that. Like I will change my diet if it'll help my performance. Like if I have to intake, more protein to recover better, sure. I'll make sure that I'm including more protein. But like it's not going to stop me from eating a Big Mac on a Sunday after a long run because that's the best thing you can ever eat after a long run. Like that's kind of the happy medium. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's this new found enjoyment I've had with like having a good relationship with food for the first time, and then also having a good relationship with running. It's a happy place to be once you're able to just accept, I can do both. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other, because I was big on just going all in. So it would be like, oh, I'm going to start running 30 miles a week. I'm going to eat a vegan diet. I did that for a little bit too. and I'm going to read 3 books a week, because like it was never healthy. I would just jump right into these things. It would last for a month maybe. And then as soon as I did something like go on vacation, or, go and eat a Big Mac, it's gone. Because then in the back of my head, I'm just like, I can keep doing that. It didn't affect my life enough for me not to, revert back into those things. So, I mean, it's the balance. It's the cliche. I mean, everything's good in moderation, but it's true. That's really where you find that happy medium.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And it's even too with like even the working out and the running and even eating, it's like what's sustainable and like what values do you hold that'll and what goals do you have and how do you couple all of those things to get to where you want to go? I've been on all sides of that fence as well. I was up to, I'm 6'2", I was up to 250 my freshman year of college. Same deal. I actually like just fully quit baseball. And it's funny now that I'm like reflecting on it, but it was because we started running and I was just like, I can't run. Like I physically thought my heart was gonna explode out of my chest. And I was like, I didn't even say it to anybody. I think everybody knew that I was just out of shape, but like in my head, I was like, oh yeah, I just don't want to play anymore. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, I quit because I physically felt like I couldn't do it anymore. Um, and then yeah, and then a similar story. I kind of found running as a weight loss like mechanism, and I was just running myself into the ground. But really, I couldn't even run a mile, or I ran one lap on a track one time and it just didn't work out. So I started doing bleachers. And
Mhm.
similar situation that was like 2 salads a day and then as many bleachers as I could do until like it just hurt too bad, basically.
Yeah, dude, the calorie deficit, and it was just so unhealthy, man. I mean, if like I'm pretty tight with my running coach now, and I was like, dude, just as long as we never have to like count calories or anything like that, like I'm good. Like you message me about taking in more protein for recovery and stuff, but like as soon as I start doing those little intricacies, I know I'll slip right back into it. Because at the end of the day, it is an addiction. It's something that our brains are wired to think like this is the way to get to this bad place. And we're so attracted to bad places for some reason. I don't understand us as humans for this, but it's like the same reason I'm attracted to getting blackout drunk on a Friday night. Like, why? At the end of the day, I feel like shit on Saturday. I feel like shit on Sunday. Like, why am I attracted to this stupid thing? But it's what we crave. And so sometimes the bad things are gonna outweigh the positive ones, but you learn how to balance them and you're chilling. But dude, wait, so you played college baseball?
Yeah, I was D3 at Rampo.
Nice. I was D3 at Randolph-Macon, down
Awesome.
in Richmond, Virginia. But for me, I tore my labrum, I don't know, 3 times now. So it was like, it's funny now that I reflect on it. Part of it is like, I was looking for an excuse not to run, workout, lift. Didn't love my coach either. He was not a fan of me. We were not fans of each other. I didn't, fit into his ideal. And I tore my labrum, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna hang him up. And now I look back and I'm like, I should have considered like a transfer or something, because I do love baseball and I loved what I was doing, but at the time it wasn't what I wanted to do, and I was avoiding that potential, having to run more, having to pass more fitness tests, having to commit weekends to playing baseball rather than go and party, and little things like that. So, I mean, do I have regrets? No. I think that everything happens for a reason. Could I have made a different choice there to maybe play a little bit more baseball? Sure. Yeah, that would have been dope.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm the same boat. Like it is what it is, and it's funny because like now my dad was a big fan of like me playing sports, and he frequently will ask like, "Oh, imagine if like you were in this shape now." I'm like, yeah, but I wasn't. Like I didn't have this mindset. I didn't have these goals. Like it's not wasn't the same person. It would have never this would never happen. So I can't even play that game. Um, but something you touched on there, which is really interesting, is the fact of like, yeah, why do we crave going and getting blackout drunk? And then on the other end, why do we crave like counting every calorie? And like something I could think too for myself is like, and especially where I was in those places where like during COVID, I was actually the opposite. I went heavy into working out, got like absolutely as shredded as I possibly can. I knew I could control all the variables right now. So that's what I did. I took complete control and then got out of that. That summer rolled around and I had a conversation with myself before that summer started and I was like, hey, we're gonna go off. Like we're gonna get nuts this whole entire summer. We are gonna black out as much as we want, do whatever you want. Make sure you're networking because I was doing a job, we're still working a job that is all about networking. And I was like, you know what? Just be the party guy, have fun, go for it. September comes, we're going sober for a month, and we'll see what happens after that. But and that's the other end where it's like, hey, this is escapism. This is you get to escape everything you're actually dealing with and go get hammered. And that's what I did for a full summer of 2021.
Yeah, man. I mean, not to get too, existential or whatever the word is, and it's horrible because I do this. I'm like, we're all on social media, right? But like, what do you see on social media? You see dudes with six packs getting blacked out drunk with models. Of course, we crave those three things, man. Of course, those are the three things we
Sure,
want
yeah,
all the times. That's why we're counting calories. That's why we want to get blackout drunk because at the end of the day, you get to take the model home. And you know what? You can't have all three all the time, man. It's the dream, but like if that's all you're seeing, then of course we're slipping into these bad habits. Maybe we glamorize someone, I don't know, reading books more frequently because I think that's pretty important. But there's not enough of that because the stuff that gets views is the stuff that is party animals and guys getting six pack. Why do you think Jersey Shore did so well and gave our state such a bad rep? Because GTA, gym tan and laundry, like that's or GTL or whatever it was, and then they go get drunk. It's just the way that our brains, take in this content and then we run with it and try and implement it into our own lives.
true. And just something else I'm thinking through with the social media stuff is like the people that consistently read the books, consistently work out, consistently eat healthy, they don't have good content in the middle of it until they have the finished product. Like until you have that compounding effect, nobody wants to see you do the work in the meantime.
Oh, 1,000%. Who wants to see me do my warm up every day? Like no
Right.
one's watching that part of a vlog. I do some burpees or something. Nobody cares about that. But I talk about shitting myself. Oh, they're all in, dude.
It's true.
That's gonna catch you some views. And I mean, it's bad because it's like, of course, that's the stuff I'm gonna end up putting in the video. But that's what we do. We show the stuff that people want to see. Who I don't want to watch someone do their warm up, but maybe there's a niche for it somewhere. It's not what I'm putting out though.
The interesting thing that you do, and I try and embody it as well, is that yes, you somewhat cater to the audience as far as what you want, what is going to get you the attention, but at the same time, your overall message is what gets out there, and you could tell that you're all about community and having fun with this. And I think that's the bottom line, where it's like you could disguise the initial reaction from people, but then as long as you have that deeper message, which you do, that's what it comes down to. It's the value.
Oh yeah, dude. So at the end of the day, actually, I got asked this the other day. Somebody really good comment was like, now that you see increases in followers, like I've gained like 15,000 followers or something in the last couple of weeks, and they're like, now that you have more eyeballs on you, do you feel any kind of pressure to change, alter, do anything different? At the end of the day, no, I truly don't because, well, one, what's got me here? Just being myself. I'm just going to continue to be myself. Two, it's like, why change something if I'm having fun with it? If I wasn't having fun with it, I wouldn't keep putting TikToks out. Like that would be work. This isn't work. This is just fun and inspiring. It feels great to, help other people. It really does. And it's something I've battled. Like, I don't know how to always reply to it. It's like someone reaches out and they're like, dude, you've inspired the hell out of me. And I'm like, thank you. I hope that I can say something else that is inspiring and helps you keep going. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here. And it's new getting those messages and trying to maneuver how to reply to them and how into someone's life do they want me to come? Because like I'll help you out however I can be, but like I don't want to be like up your ass, I guess. But yeah, man, it's never going to change. I mean, yes, I'll tailor the content to what I actually put on the internet to, whatever people want to see, but it's still going to be the same videos behind the scenes. The B-roll is always the same stuff. It's just
Yeah,
unity, personality, and fun. Because that's what we're
yeah,
having today. I mean, if this was any different, it wouldn't be fun.
it's true. Yeah, and something interesting too, and I have a conversation with a couple people about this as far as like, if they want to get into posting content and just to preface it, I do not have a big following, but I have people that I know that I'm having impact with, that's what means like everything to me. And I see the value in it for that reason. It's cool to give people value by just being yourself. And a lot of people ask like, oh, what should I post like specifically? And like what niche should I be in? And something that you just hit on too is that like if you do put yourself in this one lane, you have to be that lane because that's what will originally build up the following, build up everything, and then you have to stay there. You're stuck there. If you're being yourself, you could just be whoever or whatever you are in that season, in that year, whatever it is, and you've already amassed the following just from being yourself.
Dude, yeah. If you just use your personality as your platform, it's endless because you can just keep being yourself. You know, that's the most comfortable thing too, because you know yourself better than anyone else. You might not know a lane. Like if I were to just be the donut guy, what the hell else do I know about donuts other than eating them? But if I'm me, and part of me is that I really enjoy eating donuts when I run, just a cool little olive branch off this big old tree that I get in this personality.
Sure. It's a really, really good point. And yeah, honestly, so seeing the person you are today, obviously you went through kind of things that you went through when you were younger. What's advice you would give to a younger version of yourself?
It would be the first thing I talked about today. Don't take life so seriously. I've done it all. So I got a hate comment the other day that someone's like, this guy is just jealous of people who actually grind and stuff like that. That's not what it is. I've done that. I in college, I woke up at 4:30 every morning. I grinded. I did all of the stuff to, earn that jersey like I was talking about earlier. I've done that. But I felt like I missed out on too much other stuff to, not make it worth it. So don't take it too seriously. Get whatever you want to do in life done, whether it be your job, whether it be working out, whether it be friends, relationships, whatever it is, it's important. Do what you need to do, but don't ever let it control your whole life, and don't make it your whole personality because it's not that serious.
Yeah,
That would
no,
be,
I totally agree.
yeah.
I think it's interesting because I don't think a lot of people ask themselves, which I really haven't started doing until like a year or two ago, like really what do you want? Because we have like you even touched on earlier where it's like you see the six pack, you see going out and partying, you see the models, and it's like, will any of that actually bring you joy? And that's where you kind of tap into and like you said, you've done different things. So now you could kind of you know yourself and you could answer those internal questions.
When you look back to yourself, the first time you got that six pack, right? This is something I'll never experience. So I'm gonna live vicariously through you for a moment. When you first got that six pack, did you look in the mirror that day and you went, damn, I've made it. Everything in life is now, complete, and I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Exactly. It's just you'll be chasing something that'll never be for real. So like, why not live in the moment? Take advantage of what you got then. You've got a six pack. Take advantage of that. Don't wear a shirt until it's gone. And enjoy the next thing that comes up. Because I'm gonna run 26.2 miles on November 5th, but I already know that that's not going to get me to this place that I thought it would, 6 months ago. I'm not going to cross that finish line and be like, yep, I did it. I'm satiated with whatever running, journey I needed to be on. Because I'm not, it's not going to be until, I probably can't run anymore that I'm like, what, I'm so happy I accomplished all of that. I can close this book. But until that day, you're going to be chasing the 26.2s, the 50 milers, the 100 milers. Hell, my long-term goal in like 20 years is like Cocodona 250. Like that is like where I want to get to. So like it just steps along the way. And if I don't get to Cocodona, it won't ruin me, Like if that never happens, I won't be upset. But that'd be a cool thing to do. And you know what? If it ever gets to the point where I'm ready to train for something like that, I'll take it a little bit more seriously. But until that day comes, I'm just gonna keep having fun with it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And even hearing you say that, and like I think back to like how that is for you. And again, you have to tell me, but I think it's goes back to because you accepted yourself, like you accepted who you are, and you're just having fun.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like remember the day that you went to like your first college baseball practice and you thought it was gonna be like this great elaborate thing, and then you actually are there and you're like, wow, this is not not itching that scratch or scratching that itch that I thought that I was gonna have. Or like, the months of like leading into going into college of your senior year, you're wearing your college gear and you're like, I'm going to play college baseball. And you get there and it's not this big magical castle you thought it was gonna be. And it's like, damn, I really put all my eggs into those baskets for that many months. Like, just don't put all those eggs there, because there's going to be more baskets. You're going to have more opportunities. There's going to be cool stuff that happens along the line. So like, enjoy it for what it is at the moment, and then keep your mind open to whatever's going to come, down the road.
Yeah. It's bigger than the actual events, and it's building the person that can navigate all of the things.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah, I totally feel that. And what's like a big piece of adversity personally that you've overcame?
Um, I think back on like the times of my life where this is going to be a much broader answer than you're looking for, I'm sure. But it's the times in my life that I still think about, pretty frequently. Like the one time in third grade when you said the wrong thing in front of the class, the five, like, the essay you wrote that didn't go over so well in high school. These things that you like look back and you're embarrassed about to this day, you know, just letting them go. So like this is something I work on very frequently. So, you'll think back on like one conversation that you had with a girl in high school because you were trying to impress her and be like, wow, I am mortified that I said that. And you'll probably beat yourself up for 5 minutes, even though you're, 25 years old now. But you're thinking back on this one time and looking back and going, you know what? I'm going to let that time in my life go. I'm over it. I've overcome it. I've grown so much since that day, and I've, fought through it. So I think of that as like these big adversities in my life. The fact that they're still coming up in my brain 10, 15 years later means that they were like, what are these canon events that these people are talking about these days? It was a canon event. Let go of those canon events. They weren't important. That girl probably doesn't remember that conversation you tried to have with her in high school. The paper that you wrote, or the third grade mess up at like the book, what do we do, book review, doesn't matter. The fact that it's still affecting you, it's only affecting you. So I've gone over most of those now. It's very rare that I have one of those pop in my head, and when I do, overcome it. Take control of that thought and don't let it come back, because it's just a wasted space in your brain. There's a lot more cool stuff you could be thinking about.
Yeah, it's so true. And I posted something actually this week that was talking about like there's two conversations going on in your mind. It's the one that your mind is feeding you and the one that you're feeding yourself. And it's so true, because that one feeding you, and especially you definitely feel it in the running world, where you're into a run and it sucks, it's humid, it's hot, and it's the one that's telling you to stop. And the conversation that you spew back to it on those days that you do keep pushing is the motivation that you give yourself, and the positive self-talk that gets you through those moments.
Yeah, dude. Or like for me the other day on a run, I was doing my hill workout, and I was like halfway through. I'm like, wow, this really sucks. But then I thought, you know what? This doesn't really suck. I'm like doing it right now, and my body doesn't hurt that bad. Like this is really just me, trying to get out of this thing early. Yeah, it's miserable, it's hot, it's sweaty, but this actually doesn't really suck that bad. So that's like that's the big thing that's changed for me. Or like when I was doing a race a few months ago, I came to like, it was a 10-mile race, and mile 7 was the first time I started passing people. I'm like, damn, dude, like this is what we prepared for. Like this is what's up. Like mile 7 uphill, this is where you're turning on the afterburners. Like, let's go, bro. And like that pushed me to, keep going and pass more people and crush it. That was pretty cool.
No, it's awesome. And lastly, what keeps you going?
I think that it's just this little thing missing in my brain. This thing that like I don't know when to stop. I don't know when enough is enough, and I never have. I think it's what got me in trouble when I was, like I said earlier, when I was going through that douchebag area of my life, because I was just saying too much. Like I was far too open. I would say anything that's on my mind. Like, when was enough enough? Alex is always the guy who's going to say whatever runs through his head. And, I think it's similar for running. Like, when is enough enough? Like, is Cocodona 250 enough? Like, do I have to run across America? Like, if I do that, is the next step just like literally running across an entire country? Because, like, when does enough become enough there? When is, like, what is the breaking point? Like, 26.2 miles isn't going to do it, because I mean the 4x4x48 didn't even break me down enough to not want to do it again. Like, I'm looking forward to the next time I get to do that. Why? Because it sucked, and I know I can do better next time. Stuff like that. So I think at the end of the day, it's like, when is enough enough? I'll never know, and that keeps me going.
Yeah, no, I like that. And just personally, like introspectively, I think enough is when I'm not having fun with the stuff anymore, and when it's becoming a chore.
You know what? That's a great way to put it. Like baseball, we were just talking about it. I was looking for an excuse to get out of it. That's when enough was enough for me at that point in my life. I didn't watch baseball on TV for 2 years after that because enough was enough at the time. That's a great way to put it. I mean, college, right? For me, education was not cool. Like, I was not into going and sitting in class. I learned so much more watching, 5 documentaries and like actually reading books about things. So it'd be like, I would rather do that. And so when I finished college, I finished up the exams, did all that. Enough was enough. And now I watch my girlfriend finish up her master's degree, and she's like taking an exam. I'm like, you know what? That sounds like literally the last thing I want to do on earth right now. Even if I knew the subject, I don't want to do it. That enough was enough there. So, like, you determine when it comes, and life lets you know. You sometimes you just have to let it play out.
Absolutely, man. I really, really appreciate the time. And if you could just tell people where they could find you.
Yeah, so I'm big on TikTok these days. That's where you find me most of the time. It's at Hermruns, HERMRUNS. And then I'm on Instagram with the same handle. And maybe there'll be a podcast coming soon, and I'll have to have Vin on as one of my guests.
Awesome,
And
man. Look, yeah,
we'll do some fun stuff over there. But that's only if that happens. But yeah, that's where you can find me. If you want to ever run with me, shoot me a message, or come out to one of our endorphins runs, 7:15, the Rocky Steps in Philly. And yeah, dude, I really appreciate you having me on. This was a lot of fun.
well, yeah, I really appreciate it too. And I got to get out to one of those runs as well.
Yeah, you do, man. How have you not been out? I mean, we're shore guys. I mean, you're a North Shore guy. I'm a
Yeah,
South Shore guy, but it's easier for me to go to Ocean City than it is to Philly, but it's worth it for the friends.
absolutely.